A Quiet Place Part 2 finally released into the theaters after a whole year of delays. I got to see it last night, so here's my review. A Quiet Place Part 2 is directed by John Krasinski, just like the first film, and it stars Emily Blunt, Cillian Murphy, Millicent Simmons, and Noah Jupe. First, let's talk about what I thought of the first film. I really loved it. I think it's one of the best films of 2018 and one of the best horror movies I've ever seen. It's got so many creative ideas and an amazing world to explore, so I'm really happy we had a sequel to it. Here's what I thought of A Quiet Place 2. But first, we need to address my theatrical experience, because it might affect what I thought of the movie. It was not a great experience. I respect John Krasinski and everyone for holding off on it until they could release it into theaters, but I would have rather have seen it at home, honestly. I've made up my mind. I would rather watch a movie at home than the theater, because I have a great projector, I have a great movie experience at home. I'd rather watch it at home, because in a theater, you can't control who you watch a movie with, and this time I was stuck with a bunch of really obnoxious people who were whispering to each other and laughing the whole time. And in a movie titled A Quiet Place, when other people are talking in the movie, it kind of ruins it a little bit. Whenever something bad would happen to a character in the movie, when one of them would cry or one of them would get injured, people would start laughing, and it got really annoying after a while. For the whole thing, I was just wondering, okay, they're gonna get quiet soon. But they never do. Even during the quiet scenes in the movie, they're still whispering and laughing. It was not the greatest experience, but it was a pretty great movie. So let's get on to what I liked about the film. First thing to talk about that's definitely a positive is the opening. I really liked seeing what everyone was doing when it all started, and we got to see John Krasinski back as that character for a little bit. The world of A Quiet Place is so interesting, and this movie really does explore that a lot more. These films are about this family and what they do to survive through this, and this film goes exploring outside of that. We meet a bunch of other characters from outside their area, and just getting to explore this world a little more, and seeing that the monsters aren't even the only threat anymore. I thought that was pretty great. Just like the first film, this movie definitely has a lot of creativity. There's so many interesting situations that the first film put these characters in, and this movie definitely has that same creativity. The first film had the mother giving birth while these monsters are trying to hunt them down if they make any noise. It was really interesting to see how they went through that. And then obviously in this film they have that baby that's going to be screaming the whole time. There's just a lot of new situations that these characters have to overcome, and it was great. It's a really good sequel in the way that it carries on what the first film started and puts all these characters in new situations as well. I didn't feel that this movie was as engaging or suspenseful as the first movie, but it still has a lot of those tense scenes, really scary parts, but I think the people in the theater kind of did ruin those scenes a little bit. I think this movie wasn't as effective because I was constantly being distracted by people laughing, but it's still very well done. You can definitely feel for what these characters are going through, and you feel the danger all the way through. Also, all the other people in the theater seemed to hate this ending. It was a cliffhanger, and I think it's definitely setting up a third film. I don't understand why people are so angry at that ending. At least the people in my theater were, but I thought it was really good. It's a cliffhanger, it's not a real ending, and so I think they have to do a third film at this point. Apparently John Krasinski isn't actually that confident that he's going to do a third movie, but I really hope he does, because this wasn't really a true ending in my opinion.
You know, it's funny, the first movie, I truly never thought there would be a sequel. I don't think anybody thought there would be a sequel. I don't think the studio thought there would be a sequel, and of course, I didn't want to do a second one because of the success of the first one. And so this time in the second one, anytime I had those thoughts, I started writing them down in case for a rainy day there was ever a third one.
Like I said earlier, both of these films are directed by John Krasinski. Of course, we know him as Jim from The Office, but pretty soon I think he won't just be known as Jim from The Office. He'll be known as a great filmmaker, and I know that because of these films. They're really well done. Now, moving on to the bad. This is not a bad movie at all. I really liked it, but when I look back on it, not a lot actually happened. They weren't accomplishing much in this film. Not as much changed throughout this film as what happened in the first movie. It's not even a 2-hour film, but yeah, it's really good. It's not doing a whole lot when you think on it. And that's another reason I think we should have a third film. Also, someone pointed out to me, and I agree, Noah Jupe's character, the son in this film, basically all he does in this movie is sort of mess things up. I really liked what they did with Simmons' character, the daughter. She was great in this movie. But the son, all he really does is mess up. His foot gets injured, he locks himself in that tank and has to steal the baby's oxygen, and then he has to go exploring, find a dead person, and attract the creatures again. So really all he does throughout this film is kind of mess things up. But whatever, that's fine, I guess. Maybe I don't love the film as much as I expected to because of the people in the theater doing their best to ruin the experience, but I can't help but feel just a tiny bit disappointed because I think the first film was a lot better, but that's fine. I still think this was a very good film, a very good sequel, and I'll absolutely be there for the third movie because at this point, there's no way a third movie isn't happening. I'll give A Quiet Place Part 2 an 8 out of 10 for now. Really good film. Definitely check it out if you're a fan of the first movie. So thanks for watching. That's what I thought of A Quiet Place Part 2. I hope you all check it out, and I hope you have a better theater experience than I did. This was the first time I had been to the theaters ever since Tenet. Theaters are opening back up again, and this last weekend, we had 2 new releases, Cruella and A Quiet Place Part 2. Still deciding if I'm going to see Cruella. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.